It is still, and this is the last week of Give Back October. We're talking to Rob Garland. And in this episode, we talk about something that's a little bit heavier. What happens when you can't keep a community together? What happens when it goes different directions? Rob not only crafted and created the community that we originally had here in Hampton Roads, but he also presided over what was ultimately the demise of the original community. He talks a lot about it, and I'll let him say it in his own words. I hope you guys like it.
So you go from that time period where it was really the golden age, right? Not only here locally, but kind of in FPV in general. Yep. And then things kind of descended. And, I don't feel like we need to like harp over details or mention names, but like as is the case in most of the FPV industry, drama started to get in.
Oh, we dropping names today, son. No. Names is getting dropped. No. Oh, here come the floodgates. Come on, Michael. Where are they?
Right. Yeah.
Tell us what we've won today, Michael. No.
So talk to me about that. Like, cause you're kind of spearheading this thing. And at the same time, it started to sort of eat itself, which was sad to see.
Yeah. So as time goes on, and that's kind of one of the things why we stopped the workshops, because it was like, as the workshops progressed and I started working with Mini Quad Club to kind of like sponsor some of them, they would send me, whether it been a frame or the helping hands thing that we gave away, or coupons for 10 or 15% off of their website, or whatever the case may be. Everyone's like, oh, they're giving away stuff, and it just became, we're not here to learn. We're just either here for the free stuff, or we just want to go fly this field.
Mm-hmm.
So, because even like in the field with the multi-GP, we would just set up flags, because a lot of people never went around a flag before. Yeah, you can fly open field all day long, but go around something that's laid out.
Mm-hmm.
And that, and that's kind of how we kind of spearheaded our, using your term, our multi-GP to get people into racing and stuff like that. And the fact that, I was like, well, if everybody sees me race, they figure if that guy can do it, I definitely can do it. That was horrible racing. But so yeah, it just kind of sucked to see not really many people coming out to really want to learn stuff. There was a few, not saying there wasn't, but it wasn't as many. 35 people showed up, 2 people wanted to learn something.
Yeah.
And it was like, what are we doing this for? So we started focusing our attention into the events and things like that. But it just, it did, like you said, it kind of went different ways. And I think that's kind of like what sucks about it, is that, in the groups of all the people that we helped learn this hobby or whatever, you kind of help new people coming in and they have a question. Our group was all about helping the next person and giving back.
Right.
So if someone had a question, well, I'm looking, no one's answered it yet.
No one's answering.
And I would come in and say, if you do this, and this, you'll be successful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not telling you how to do it. I'm just telling you, if you do these things, then this is what I do. You can use that and you can be successful. That turned into other people coming in that I guess I didn't know had a beef, or maybe I'd had an interchanging of words with at a later or an earlier time. Well, who in the F are you to tell this guy how he needs to do this and how he needs to do that? Trying to help the freaking guy get off the ground.
Right.
you know, and it just, there was a lot of that, man. And it became really disheartening for me to go through that, because I'm like, wait a minute, you're the same guy that I freaking helped, like, just a few months ago
Mm-hmm.
do almost the same damn thing, and you're coming at me like a freaking pack of, rabid dogs over here. Like, slow your roll. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying I'm God or you need to do exactly what I'm saying, but I'm just trying to give this kid some advice
Mm-hmm.
on what he needs to do to be, off the ground and enjoying the same thing that we all enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it boils down to. And it just, it became, as much as I didn't want it to, it became to be so much.
Yeah.
It became really too much for me. Like I said, I have a big heart for this hobby and this industry, but at the same time, when things like that go down and they're aimed directly towards me, man, it's like, it is what it is. I'll take it. I'd much rather take it than someone else take it. But
Mm-hmm.
at a certain point in time, there's only so much weight that one person can take.
It's funny because Joshua Bardwell, I watched over his interview that I had with him recently. And one of the things he said that stuck with me, and this is a paraphrase, but this is basically what he said, is first they love you. First they love you, and then after they love you, they find out where you're wrong. And
Exactly.
as things grow, as they get bigger, and I've experienced this myself with this channel here.
Yeah.
As things grow, as things get bigger, you initially have a group of people that love what you do because of who you are, what you do, or how you do it. And then eventually people start coming in that have opinions that might differ from your own, which is fine. But people don't always handle that well. And,
they don't.
and I will say, I'll call you out. You, as much as I love you, definitely could be hard to, you're not hard to deal with, because that's not
I'm hard to decipher.
You're hard to decipher, and especially over text. It's very easy to take the wrong meaning.
Well, here's the thing, and that's what I was just getting ready to say as well, is like, my brain doesn't work like everyone else's, and know that just as well as my close friends know that. But I'm a fly off the cuff type of person.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone comes at me and says, "Hey man, I think this is a really great idea. Let's do this and go forward," and and they're really jazzed about it. That's awesome that you're jazzed about it, but I think that's a shitty idea. You know what I mean?
Right. And you would say it just like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe that anyone should be sugar-coated. I honestly don't. We live in the world that we live in now.
Right.
The people that know me already know, like, this dude's going to give me some off the wall ass response, and they expect it. But to the people that don't know me, and that's a lot of and I've worked on that a lot, as I've gotten older.
Mm-hmm.
But that's some of the things in the community that we started because I had a vision of where things needed to go and what I would like to see later on down the line. How these events that we're holding, I mean, we were holding pretty big events.
You were.
We weren't holding like, at first, it was like 4 people out racing, and that was a race, but it became like 20 plus to where I have a waiting list of people to race at one of our events. Right. We were having sponsors come in and give us prizes. We had, a lot of things going on. We had some really cool freaking events. And I worked with a lot of the AMA groups in the area to be able to hold at their fields, which cost money to be able to do that if you're not a member, you know. A lot of that got taken sideways, but hey, if you want to race at this event, then you have to pay. because you're not paying me. You're paying this guy over here so that we can be here. So we're
Right,
basically running the field for the day, you know.
Yeah.
But people would come up with these ideas, and I'm the fly off the cuff guy, and I would tell them like, look, I don't think that's a good idea. I actually had a guy, perfect example, because I think about everything that I say afterwards, after I've already said it.
Right.
And I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have said it that way, but it's too late. So I have to make phone calls. I'm like, you know what? I'm an asshole, dude. I'm sorry. Just hear me out for a second, you know?
Right.
I actually had this guy, and if he watches your videos, and he already knows who he is, but we don't see eye to eye. He is a very nice guy. He's a family man, whatever. But he was just starting to learn how to like run courses and stuff like that. Was he fast? Sure, he was very fast. Was he experienced? No, because he was just like a month or two in, and we weren't doing like novice races, experienced, pilots or anything like that. We were just doing. It
was all together.
Right. So. Well, you've raced at a couple of our events. But when we're at the AMA fields, you have to be AMA to race there. And they gave me certain requirements that they want to hold under their AMA for people to be able to participate in these races. So this guy hits me up and he's like, man, I'm ready. Like I'm racing, I'm fast, I'm this, I'm that. And I was like, how long you been racing? A month. You're not ready. What do you mean I'm not ready? You're not ready. How about this? How about you come out to one of our races and you work directly with me and help me get things set up, and whatever needs to be done, we'll do it, and just watch the races and see how, because at that time these guys were freaking like, it wasn't 6S status yet.
Right.
But these guys on 4S were like balls to the wall, man. And I'm like, I mean, as soon as the tone went off, they were like, half battery.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, I just want it to be safe. I want everything to go without a hitch, no injuries, because where they were racing at the time, it was kind of like, we don't care. You want to fly over everybody. You want to, hit vehicles. You want to do whatever. That's, the way it was. Here you have to be a little more cautious. And he didn't understand that, and he got pissed off and was like, oh, screw you guy, whatever, and, hung up. Whatever. So I don't care. So after a night of thinking about it, like, I shouldn't turn away people. I should let the guy race, regardless of his skill set, and let him find out firsthand what it's like, And so I called the guy up the very next day, and I, look, man, that was the wrong response. I really apologize. I'd love to have you come out to one of our races. I'd love to have you participate. Anything that I can do to help get you situated, you need anything, you just let me know. I hope to see you there. I'd love to have you. And he's like, oh, sweet. Dude never showed up.
Yeah.
And that's one of the bandwagon, the hater bandwagons that kind of drifted off to talk shit later on down the line. But it is what it is. And I even brought it up to him to his face one day. I was like, yeah, I said that, but didn't I also call you back and tell you that I was wrong in saying that? He's like, yeah. I was like, well, what's the problem?
Right.
You and I have had a little altercation, and you were going through some things, I was going through some things, and we kind of clashed heads for a second at our very first meetings.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like a week later, I think you had contacted me and was like, man, and I completely forgot about it. I was just like, it was like admin thing to me in the group, whatever.
Right,
I think you posted something, whatever, and to me it was just like an admin thing. I wasn't trying to but it turned into something else because of the way that I speak to people. but now you know.
Right. Well, and I think the thing that I took away from a lot of the drone on interactions was that number one, tone over text very rarely gets interpreted correctly.
Oh no, never.
And number two, you were out there giving more than most everybody else. There were a few people that were keeping up with you, but I certainly wasn't giving as much as you were by any stretch of the imagination. And you were keeping the group going with your hard work and your lifeblood, and you would ask for help and you wouldn't get it. Yep. And then it would turn around and all of a sudden, for whatever reason, we've had face-to-face conversations, and they're always like this, right? Where it's fun, it's happy, but people that don't know you, and I think this is true across most of FPV, people just don't know how to take other people online. Yeah. And absolutely. As a result, there were just a lot of miscommunications. So when did you walk away from the community in general?
So the overall community, I'll probably never ever walk away from. Like the FPV community overall. Okay, sure. I'll never walk away from that, because my heart and my passion for flying, whether it's quads or wings or anything like that, I don't think that will ever leave me. Yeah. And but it just got to be too much for me with the groups on Facebook, because at that time, towards the end of our local community, I picked up a sponsorship with Mini Quad Club, and even before then, I was with the Mini Quad Club for almost like 4.5 years.
Yeah,
and then some other things happened. I was going through some things. My wife's health wasn't the best, and that was most important to me than anything. And so I pulled back a lot, and the group kind of died a little bit. Like I can see it, like from, not saying that I was the motor that kept everything going. I don't think that at all, but I could see like the group was just kind of dying off a little bit by a little bit, and I was like, well, there's someone that can kind of kick new blood and kind of kick new ideas and do things that I couldn't do to bring new life into this group. I mean, it's got to be, Yeah. And I talked to a couple people about it, and they were like, you know what, you got to do what's best for you. And I was like, they're like, dude, I know it's going to be like super hard for you to like give up your baby, but you have to do what's best for you.
Yeah.
And to me, my family is number one. Nick Miller and the MQC is like done so much for me and so much for our local community over the years that I can never thank him enough, for that. And just everything else, man, it just got to be so much to where I was like, you know what? I just can't do it anymore. It's gotten to the point to where I want to punch somebody in the face nicely. But no, seriously though, it's it was a great group. It was a nice run. We had some stellar, awesome events, laughs beyond belief, good times that, I will cherish for many, many years to come. And be grateful that I was a part of everyone else's journey. But I had to look for other ways for a local community to thrive.
Yeah.
I actually had a guy hit me up a few years ago on YouTube, no doubt, and he said he's from Hampton, he's a disabled veteran, and say he wanted to get into FPV, but he just didn't know how, and this, that, and other, and just like, his life didn't allow him to do it when he wanted to do it, and he's kind of looking to get into it. And we used to do, not only did we do the workshops and we did races and events and stuff like that, but working with the AMA groups, we actually had opportunities to be able to hold public events at local airports.
Mm-hmm.
So like at the Jamestown Williamsburg Airport, every year we would hold International Drone Day. Mm-hmm. And that's for the general public to come out. So they would come out and ask all kinds of crazy questions about if we're peeping in their windows and everything like that. Yeah. And then we would hold demonstrations. We had race demonstrations, freestyle demonstrations. We had first responder demonstrations. We had all kinds of stuff that people could see and watch and touch and feel and talk and ask questions and the whole 9 yards. We actually had New Kent Airport. That's coming up actually next weekend. So many different opportunities to fly at an actual local airport or regional airport that many other people never had an opportunity to be able to do that. Mm-hmm. If there was a couple races at an airport, but for someone to just go hold an expo or a demonstration or anything like that at an airport was at the time kind of unheard of. It's like, oh my God, flying at an airport? What's wrong with you? It's like, we're like 150 yards off of the freaking runway where warbirds are flying down doing their demonstration. We're over here ripping quads, It's like, you got a 400-foot limit. Hell yeah, I'm chasing this guy up in the sky, just to kind of get a look at it. I'm 150 yards from him, but yeah, that's cool as hell to see that, But yeah, it just got to be too much for me, and my family came first, and I had to take care of that. But when with those demonstration stuff, I actually had a friend of mine, Carlton Bennett. He hit me up on YouTube, and had him come out to his first IDD, which was a couple of years ago, and our friendship kind of grew. And I brought him to my shop and helped him build his first drone. I donated him MQC Fusion, one of the fusions that I had. Yep. And the thing is a freaking battle tank.
Right. Actually, an interesting story about that Fusion is that you lent me that exact same frame, the exact frame that he had. It was the original three standoff. Because just before the only race that I ever raced in, I broke my frame. Yep. And I transplanted everything off of my old frame onto that frame that I had borrowed from you, and then got another Fusion and sent you back that frame.
Yep. That frame is like the battle cat. If He-Man was a real life, it was like the battle cat, man. That thing was like, it was freaking awesome. I beat the hell out of that thing into like massive trees, and it would just like shrub it off. Like, what's next, buddy? You got to do something better than that.
Right. Yeah.
Look, when a company reaches out to you and says, "I'm going to send you this frame. I want you to beat the shit out of it and tell me what you think." Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to beat the shit out of this thing. Exactly. And they still keep going, man. They just they're gluttons for punishment. They love it.
Yes.
They love it. They're built with that Nick Miller magic, man.
Yes.
But yeah, he I got him all set up and kind of helped mentor him a little bit into the FPV. And went out with his first FPV experience and stuff like that, and try to help keep him orientated in the air under the goggles and whatnot. And our friendship just bloomed, man. He's a really awesome guy. He's got an awesome story himself, and I couldn't think of anyone else better that kind of had the time to put into a community. And had the respect and the passion for the same community that we built. Mm-hmm. Had that kind of drive that I had in the beginning, I could see in him. Mm-hmm. And I kind of turned the keys over to him, and let him do his own thing, and was like, here you go.
Yeah.
And now it's become a group called SOAR FPV. SOAR FPV. Yep. VA, yeah. And they got some really good guys. They're doing some really cool things, and unfortunately for me personally, like in my personal life, I maybe soon, but right now I just can't. It's kind of nice not being in local groups.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
I
like
understand.
I'll hear somebody say, "Oh, dude, you see what so?" Nope, sure
No.
didn't. Can you believe that guy said that? I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, and I can tell you, just being a bystander, the difference between you now and you when you turned it over, like you could tell it had taken it out of you. It had taken a lot out of you, and mentally, I feel like you're in a much better place now, and emotionally. Whereas by the time you handed the keys over to Carlton, we would talk on a regular basis, and I could just tell, man, like your ability to even deal with the slightest amount of BS was compromised, right?
Yeah.
And it's good to see, like I know I personally enjoy your flight videos. But it's good to see the joy come back to them when you do go to the Shelby Vol events and you go to fly the wings. And I remember the first time you sent me stabilized footage off of your wing when you got your Hero 7.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, man, Rob's got his groove back, and that's been good to see.
Yeah. The wings, man, that's a whole nother aspect, bro. That's like, I don't know what you. All right, so when you first got into FPV, and you first threw up that very first pack, man, and your brain just went, and your heart just started pounding, and your hands are sweaty, and you're like, oh my god, that was freaking awesome! That was the best like minute and 30 seconds with my clothes on I've ever had in my entire life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That was with wings, man. Like, so I've always been intrigued with wings, and then freaking like, I was like, damn, it's been almost 3 years now. Wow. Yeah. I was just thinking about it. My birthday's this weekend. So like on my birthday, like 3 years ago, my buddy Lou and Nick and Andrew all got together and was like, he's not going to buy a wing by himself.
Right.
So it's either we buy him one and to stop him from talking about the shit, because they were all like, they fly anything, they're planes or whatever. And it's like, either we're going to chip in and buy him one and let him go about his thing, or he's just never going to do it. So they did. They all chipped in and got me a little birthday present, a little wing, a little what's that, a little S800, and I beat the crap out of that thing, dude. Oh my god. I've never seen a chunk of foam take a beating so bad.
Right. Yeah.
But it was just fun, man. It just brought that exhilaration back. You know what I mean? It just brought that element back for me. So that was really cool.
So I think one of the things you told me, because we've talked about it periodically, was that the experience between wings and quads is radically different.
Yeah.
It's radically different. I think you told me that you get just ridiculous flight times, whereas with a quad you get like 2-3 minutes, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, with I got to maintain that loco name. So I mean, like with me, it's like a quad. It's like full throttle for a minute and a half.
It is. It is.
No, but the what the hell? The wings, yeah, it's definitely 25 to 10 to 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Depending on your battery setup, there's a lot of guys out there running a lot more efficient setups that are getting a lot faster, longer flight times, cruisers, fast speed, spec racers and stuff like that are getting less time, of course, because they're racing. But yeah, I mean for me, it's crazy. Like I was saying earlier in the beginning, I don't have a whole lot of action on my YouTube channel as much as I used to, because it's like when I go out and fly wings, I had this kid one time tell me, Matt Urowski, I didn't see him post videos on YouTube anymore. And I was like, "What's up, man? How come you're not posting?" I was posting like weekly. As soon as I flew a pack, I was in the editing. I was in post trying to do something. And he's like, "You know what? I'm not doing YouTube anymore." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I'm just flying for me now." It's like when you stop flying for YouTube and you fly for yourself, it's a lot better. I never knew what that meant. I was like, "This kid's freaking crazy! Like it's all about YouTube." and now it's about me. You know what I mean? And I totally get what he meant. And that was so many years ago, dude. I totally get what he meant by that. And if I want to post a video, I'll post a video, and I'll put a lot of time into it and a lot of color grading and, effects or whatever I can do to kind of jazz it up and make it a nice looking video for someone to enjoy. But there's so many people that don't even watch flight videos anymore.
Right. Yeah, that is true.
So it's like, well, how am I going to like post a flight video every single week? And it's not getting any views. It's, not that I'm out there trying to get the views or trying to get the followers or be some big YouTube name or anything like that. But it would be, it'd be nice to see it get appreciated by some people, And so now it's just like the people that I do have subscribe to my channel, whatever, Sorry. They're coming soon, man. They're coming soon. I promise you, they're coming soon. Yeah.
Well, where can people find Loco FPV?
So, okay, ironically enough, YouTube.
Yeah.
No, my channel at youtube.com/Loco FPV.
Yeah.
Or just search me, Loco FPV. Instagram, Loco FPV. I'm in the Mini Quad Club group, of course. Rob Garland. I'm all over the place in there, all over a lot of the wing groups and stuff like that. If you see me about, you got any questions, anything, just hit me up and let me know. For sure.
Right. Well, thank you for coming on, buddy.
Well, I appreciate you having me on, man. Hopefully I wasn't too long-winded.
No, man, you were good. You were good. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Rob Garland. Thank you for watching the Michael Rollins Show, and we will see you very soon.
Peace out. Thanks, brother.
To see a community go away is not anything that I enjoy. To see a group of people bifurcate and go different directions, it's not something that I particularly enjoyed watching. I'm not super involved in the local community, and that's because I've got a lot of commitments outside of FPV. But I still have a heart for them, and it is good to know that in SOAR FPV VA and in some of the other groups, the local community does still thrive. And the seed that Rob planted still exists, and I'm glad that that is the case. In our next episode, we talk about how Rob got into this, because he's been into it for quite a while. He started in 2014 and really went on a search for other people to fly with, and that's how all of this happened to begin with. I'd like to thank my patrons. If you'd like to be a patron, there's a link below. My patrons support me. They're a source of just rest for me sometimes, because I can be honest with them and open about how I feel in a way that I can't be right here on YouTube. And I'm glad that they're there. So I'd like to thank them. If you'd like to be a patron, link is in the description below. And I'll see you in the next one.